Chinese authorities have been accused of obstructing international journalists as they sought to report on the crackdown.
I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist and you're arresting me. Why are you arresting me?
Time and time again, police made it clear. No pictures, not now, not even here in the city of Chengdu, almost 1,000 miles from Tibet.
I've been arrested by the Chinese police for just trying to cover the protest here.
The police didn't just check our journalist cards, they took them away and made detailed notes on what we'd been reporting. Then they drove off with our documents. China promised press freedom during the Olympics, but this was blatant intimidation.
The fact is that more than 100 people, journalists and bloggers and internet users, are imprisoned in China. And this is in stark contrast with the press freedom that even China has in its own constitution. So we have been campaigning for press freedom, as we do everywhere in the world. But we did so also during the Olympics, because China said that the Olympics would open up China, and it was a promise of improvement also on the field of human rights. And we said, well, that's very good news, because there's a lot of room for improvement, especially in the field of press freedom.
I'm pretty sure there are people who miss press freedom and who view the Chinese system as being too rigid. I think a large chunk of the population doesn't realize that it is controlled. And the liberalizations that have taken place and the kind of magazines you can now get that just report on anything, especially when it comes to fashion, entertainment, sports, right? These kind of things which are completely in our control, give the general reader the impression that Chinese society has become much freer than it used to be.
Well, this would reflect very much the position of the Chinese Communist Party, actually. So it's very surprising that someone who is using freedom in the West, in the Netherlands, to investigate on an academic level subjects like these. Well, of course, using the freedom that we have over here and not thinking that the same freedom would be necessary elsewhere. I mean, it's very basic. It's press freedom, the freedom of expression, freedom of conscience. These are really very basic human rights. Everybody has these rights, and everybody needs the rights also. And every society needs people that are critical thinkers, like academics.
Things that are definitely forbidden are, the so-called state secrets. That's sort of the key word. Cross-strait relations, right? The relation between Taiwan and mainland China is a highly problematic topic. In general, anything that has to do with Chinese territorial integrity and sovereignty, so Tibet, Xinjiang, any minority regions, anything that has to do with potential ethnic unrest, religious movements, actual state secrets of how the army is evolving and so on. Really, some social indicators can be interpreted as state secrets as well. So growth numbers that are not in line with what the government wants, or the amount of actual unemployed and so on, can be problematic. Health issues are very quickly national security issues. Like AIDS also, AIDS numbers in China are, if they're leaked, it's leaking a state secret, right? So statistics like that suddenly become very explosive.
Well, we haven't noticed any improvements, unfortunately. In fact, China has strengthened its censorship, especially in the internet, because China is, of course, a very rich country in cultural ways. It has this great wall, but it also has a great firewall, and the firewall is immense, and it is a very sophisticated system of blocking information from outside, but also it is a very sophisticated system of finding people who are using the internet for divulging their messages. And to this effect, many people are imprisoned because of information they have looked up on the internet. Amnesty International is asking China to become party of the UN treaty. There are main treaties, human rights treaties, and China is still not a member of or not party to the UN Treaty of Civil and Political Rights. And we are asking China to become party to that treaty. And we do so in the full knowledge that this would be for the best of Chinese citizens. It is not a fact of just stressing one part of the rights and ignoring the other part of the rights. It really goes hand in hand, and it is for the best of citizens of China to abide by all laws and to, of course, stimulate also the internal debate about how society should be run.
Press freedom, even in the general public discourse, is seen as potentially disturbing to stability. And the argument would be that we here in the West, we already have our stable economies, which we bought with labor from colonial regimes and all that, so, you know, evil us. But we're all settled, so we can afford ourselves press freedom and debates and all these kind of things, whereas China cannot. I'm not saying I agree, but I'm just trying to explain to you what the logic is.